Ball State Sports Links Driven is proudly presented by Stoops Automotive, online at stoopsauto.com.
I would never beat him, but then I finally got him, and I just wanted to let everybody know that little brother could beat the big brother.
Quake is just trying to stay alive, you know, because once football's gone, I think Quake is gone.
Winter is upon us. Happy December and happy holidays, everybody. Thank you for joining us for Ball State Sports Links Driven, presented by Stoops Automotive. Stoops, driven to be the best. I'm your host, Connor Onion, and it's time to take a look at the best stories in Ball State sports. Our first story almost never transpired as swimmer J.D. Middleton almost quit the sport of swimming. His story of perseverance is told by Tim Rushi and Andy Wright, entitled A Team of One.
J.D. Middleton is a son that I'm really proud of.
I don't think many people could do what J.D. did.
It's something inside of J.D. that shows how strong of a person he is.
I'm always proud to say that J.D. Middleton swam for me, but more importantly, J.D. Middleton swam for himself.
The chance to be on a team is not always guaranteed. That experience is something that J.D. Middleton cherishes more than anything.
I love representing a school or my team and something that's more than just me. It's a sense of accomplishment from swimming.
J.D. has been swimming since he was in 3rd grade at the age of 9. J.D. swam at the Pendleton Swim Club in Pendleton Heights, Indiana. It was there that he grew fond of the sport.
The pool at Pendleton has a lot of memories just because that's where I kind of grew as a swimmer there. Just all the practices and the meets there and all the friends that I made there. There's a lot of memories going back there.
You know, if I told a guy to just go out until you threw up in the gutter, he'd do it, you know. Yeah, I guess you got to be a swimmer to understand that, but, you know, he embodies everything that a coach wants.
At the high school level, J.D. accomplished feats in the pool that were unheard of.
Whenever we would go to sectionals, J.D. would just be able to swim 2 events. He scored in his 2 swims higher than another team that had a full team.
I just couldn't be any prouder, you know, with the whole situation. If you take any other ordinary kid and put him in that kind of a situation, I think they would fail, to be quite honest.
What J.D. did in the pool was unprecedented. He did it by himself, as a team of one. J.D. attended high school at Shenandoah. It is a school based in Middletown, Indiana, which has a population of 2,200 people.
So Shenandoah is a really small farm town school. There's 400 people in the high school, and it was football and basketball and FFA. Swimming was never a topic that even popped up.
When that school was built, there was supposed to have been a pool, but the school board actually voted down the pool. It's sad.
All 4 years of high school, J.D. swam at Pendleton Heights swim meets by himself, representing Shenandoah.
I actually ended up only being able to swim during the JV events, so I didn't really get to swim what I wanted, so it was kind of difficult for me not being able to swim with people that could actually push me.
I've seen him swim a heat where it's just been him by himself. We couldn't take points away from Pendleton, and we couldn't take points away from the other team that would be there, so every time JD swam, it was for himself and for his school and for his time.
As JD entered his final years of high school, the stress of representing an entire school began to wear on him.
I actually almost quit the sport of swimming before I came here just because I was alone and I didn't have that team aspect. So, I mean, after years of trying to motivate myself, I was really tired of that.
There wasn't a team there, and he was really lacking that, and I think that's really what he wanted, was to have a team.
It looked like JD's swimming career was coming to an end, but it didn't. It took one splash to change JD's fortune. JD's art teacher at Shenandoah had a Ball State swimming connection.
I happen to know Coach Thomas because his daughters swam with my daughters at Catalina Club. So I wrote down all his times, all his best times, statistics, and he took all the stats and called him, I think, within a couple days. JD came the next weekend for a visit, and that was that.
After years of swimming by himself, JD finally experienced being on a team. He was no longer a team of one.
I mean, it's just so great to see him from the tiny boy that he was to the young adult that he has become.
If I ever had a son, I had all daughters, but he's the kind of kid I'd want.
He worked very hard at something that he got very little notoriety for.
He's dedicated, he's very strong-willed, and I'm very proud.
For Ball State Sports Link, I'm Andy Wright.
The transition for JD from high school to college has been seamless as he enters his sophomore season in the swimming program. Another guy that's made it look easy moving to college is freshman basketball player Jeremy Tyler, making an impression right away in front of the Cardinal faithful. He had 23 points in his home opener for Ball State. The twist, it was against his big brother Jerome of IU Kokomo. Their story, Jerome and Jeremy's, of brotherly love is shown in Season 2, Episode 2 of Out of the Shadows.
The East Side, one of the most dangerous areas of Indianapolis, is home to Arsenal Tech, the city's first public school to win a state championship in 34 years. It's also the place that IU Kokomo guard Jerome Campbell and his little brother, Ball State freshman Jeremy Tyler, call home.
Growing up with Jerome was difficult because he was the older brother, you know, he always got things before me. And I had two older sisters too, so you know, sometimes they'll always gang up on me when I was being a younger child.
Growing up, we always played one-on-one against each other. Every time, if the sun was out, we was outside playing one-on-one.
They loved just playing together and just kind of outdoing each other.
When we were little, he would never be able to beat me one-on-one. And I would never let him live that down. And he would always tell me, one day I'm gonna beat you, one day I'm gonna beat you, and the day that I beat you, you can't say nothing else. We were actually around the corner from my grandparents' house. We were at this church that always had a basketball goal. The day, I couldn't hit a thing. And when Jeremy's on, he's on, for a fact, he does not miss.
I told him I was gonna beat him. And I remember I shot the funniest looking shot. I think he fouled me and I shot it and it went in.
Jeremy beat him when he comes in the house, just like, hey, I beat him, I got him, Grandpa. I told him I was gonna get him. I told him, and it hasn't been the same since then.
The fact that he hit and he ran off and ran home and ran into my grandparents' house and told them I won off a foul shot and I did all of this, it was like, dude, stop, it's just one game. But to him, it's like, I finally beat you. You always used to beat me and never said I could beat you, and when I finally did it, it just feels real good.
With just that brother rivalry that we had, he always said I would never beat him, but then I finally got him, and I just wanted to let everybody know that little brother could beat the big brother.
The brothers' development, both on and off the court, was guided by a familiar voice.
They don't want to hear my mouth. You know, they don't want to hear me. And the best way to shut me up is to do your piece. You do your job, we're all good.
We used to be the only ones in the gym at night just working out.
Every time we worked out, he never took it easy on us. He always told us that somebody was in the gym working harder than us, longer than us, to get us ready for high school, college, or the next step, basically.
If you're gonna do something that you love, why not be as best that you can be at it?
We didn't work out like for the next level, we worked out for the next 2 levels. So when we was in middle school, we worked out like getting better for high school. And when I was in high school, I didn't work out for high school. I did college workouts. You know, I shot probably over 1,000 shots a night sometimes.
When I see it slacking maybe, then yeah, I'm gonna say something. But the great piece of it is that I don't have to do that anymore. They're maturing to be good young men.
I'm thankful for my grandfather. You know, he was a father figure for me when my father wasn't there.
Not only was he a father, but he was also a grandfather. He's a friend, he was a coach. He is basically everything that I really needed them to have as they were growing up, because they didn't have that male figure. They just had me and my mom.
My grandfather, he completely filled in that father role. Like, even though he's my grandfather, I consider him a father to me.
He really showed them how to be men.
He did everything that a father would do to his son to get him ready for the next step.
My goal for them was totally different from what their goal was. Their goal is to play college ball and maybe even go to the league or something. You know, I want everybody to go to college. Coach Whitford had gone all over the country, he or his staff, to see Jeremy and watch him through the whole process. And I think they developed a bond. We did an official visit. Jeremy watched the team, and Coach Whitford, my wife, and I were up in the stands. Jeremy's dribbling the ball, he's looking around, and he's just, I don't know, in awe. I told Jeremy that in the beginning of the process, anytime you feel like this is the spot for you, then you shut it down.
That next morning, I told my grandfather, I think I want to commit here.
He told me I could shut it down when I felt like I was at home. He said, I feel like this is the place I want to be. I like this. I don't need to go anywhere else.
He said, well, if you're sure, go shake that man's hand, because that's your word. So I shut it down. I shook Coach Whitford's hand.
Once he shook his hand, you're locked in. It's no longer a verbal commitment. It's a man-to-man commitment.
He got up and shook my hand and looked me in the eye and said, Coach, I want to come to Ball State. And it was a big day, and it's how Jeremy was raised. It's he knew when he looked me in the eye and shook my hand and said it man to man that was as good as gold.
At one point, it looked like Jeremy would never beat Jerome one-on-one, but when the two teams, Ball State and IU Kokomo, squared off, Jeremy definitely got the better in the Cardinals' 101-62 win over IU Kokomo. But still, despite the result, the two still push each other, and little brother still leans on big brother and admires his work ethic. Ball State gymnastics season is just about to get underway in January under second-year head coach Joanna Salim. Leadership should be no problem, as this roster has 5 seniors. One of those is all-arounder Samantha Santos, as we profile her hard work and her relentless work ethic in this edition of I Play For You.
As a gymnast, I perform I endure physical training and practice, all to push for one goal: a perfect score. But I have to have strength, flexibility, agility, and balance. It only takes one mistake. One mistake to tarnish my goal. Deductions are my enemy, not my opponents. I'm Samantha Santos, and I play for you.
Samantha and the gymnastics season opened their season January 11th at home against two-time defending national champion Florida. But after looking at Samantha's story, we head back to the pool with women's swimmer Courtney Mudd, and her career was at a crossroad due to injury as David Pruzinski and Allison Wilson tell her story entitled Stroke by Stroke.
I've never been out of the water that long. I was swimming, I have been having really good practices, 3 or 4 weeks back into the pool with the team, and my arm just started hurting really bad, and I was like, oh no, I'm not having issues again. And so I just kept swimming through it because I don't like stopping. But then my arm started going numb, and I wasn't feeling anything on the tips of my fingers. I had shoulder issues way back in high school, and I got surgery for it. I had a labral tear in my left shoulder, so I got surgery, and it's been fine since.
In September, I was diagnosed with thoracic outlet syndrome.
I went to the doctor, and they told me that every time I take a stroke, my artery will be pinched off and I won't get any blood flow through my arm, so basically my arm goes dead. For a while I was only going for an hour at a time, and we usually go morning practice for an hour and a half, afternoon for 2 hours, so I was only getting 1 hour of swim a day.
While she was sitting out, I know she would go to the rec center during our practices and work out instead of being in the water. And so I know that she stayed determined while she was out of the water.
I'm back in the water full time now, so it's just a matter of getting my speed back and getting stronger. I'm thinking about getting to the finish line, and I think about my team. I'm not doing this for myself, but I'm doing it for the other people.
Our final story is on perhaps the greatest player to line up in the Ball State backfield ever. With several records to his name, we highlight the journey of Jawan "The Quake" Edwards for the Ball State football team. His story is produced by Drew Adamson and Tori Fox.
Quake is just trying to stay alive. Once football gone, Quake is gone.
Shakespeare once wrote, "We know who we are, but not what we may be." As the career of Jawan Edwards enters its final act, the senior longs for the answer to one simple question: what will become of Quake?
I have a trophy dating back to 1997, PAL Packers. Football has just been in my life ever since then. Everybody that was in that community was going to a predominantly black school, East Mecklenburg. People with more talent went to East Meck, You know, like I didn't have a father at home, so, you know, chilling with the older guys were my way of, you know, learning some things from a man, supposedly, you know. So, you know, being that butler, being around people who I feel were more likely to be successful or looking to be successful helped me out a lot.
The move to Butler propelled Juwan to the things he valued the most: championships and a well-earned high school degree. Everything was following life's script until an ordinary drive threatened to change everything.
Tonight we're learning more about a Butler football player involved in a deadly accident over the weekend. Police arrested the popular running back after they say he caused a wreck that killed 51-year-old Nathan Hardis of Midland.
That was one of the most devastating situations I've ever been in, you know, and just to see somebody die and, you know, feel like I was a part of it, me being there, being questioned about it, like I had something to do, you know what I mean, like I really had physically something to do with it. So I think that's going to be with me for life, just, you know, that situation. I was actually sitting in the back seat. It was just us two. The front seat was wet, but that's the part that got hit, you know, so that's another thing, like, wow, I could have been right there. Anything, my leg or anything, I was sitting in the back.
Despite the setback, Juwan persevered. He sought a Division I dream and realized it here at Ball State. But despite all the hurdles sent Juwan's way, it was he himself who stood in his path.
There's a lot of times where he wasn't passing his runs. And, you know, there was a time where we met Coach Feely, myself, and the captains met with him, and hey, you're not passing, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing conditioning-wise. And, you know, I think he heard that message and stepped up.
Juwan not only improved, but became a staple in the Cardinal record books. He gained the most yards, scored the most touchdowns, and tallied the most points in a Cardinal uniform. But what name will be inscribed in history? It's a decision that's harder than you might think.
When I just started getting publicity, I just was tired of, you know, Juwan, you know, I just wanted a little alias a little bit, and, you know, Quake, I think it fits me well. A friend of mine actually came up with the name. Quake, yeah, you can go with that, I like that. And I rolled with it, and it took people some months to actually figure out, like, I was serious about, like, don't call me Juwan, I'm really Quake right now. And my presence on the field took over, and people really bought in and see me improving on the field. I feel like I improved on the field after I got the name.
Will it disappear? Will it be gone? Will the persona that Juwan so wants to be continue to the professional ranks?
He's definitely versatile. He brings a combination of size and speed and toughness and athleticism. In the NFL, he's going to have to do a lot of other different things other than just run the ball. You know, he's going to have to pass protect. He's going to have to play on special teams in order to make a team, and he's the guy for that because he'll do all that.
Hard work, dedication, and belief. Just hopefully, you know, I just get that opportunity. I feel like I'm in the right position. I do the right things, and the right people watching over me. I got a lot of people in my corner.
For Ball State Sports Link, I'm Torrey Fox.
Not only did Quake etch his name in the Ball State record books, but also in the MAC record books as well. As you see, rushing touchdowns, total touchdowns, rushing attempts, rushing yards. He is the best ever as far as Ball State Cardinals are concerned. Various records fell throughout his Ball State career records, season records, and single game records as well. For a lightly recruited guy, I'd say he did pretty well for a running back out of North Carolina. The trio that has to replace him, Darian Green, Horatio Banks, and Teddy Williamson, have quite the void to fill next season for Pete Lembo and the Ball State Cardinals. Well, that does it for December's episode of Driven. Don't forget to follow us on social media. We're on Twitter and Instagram at BSU SportsLink and at Facebook.com/Ball State SportsLink. Big thank you to our executive producer, J.C. Obringer, and also Luke Martin in his final show, as December has quickly become Luke Martin Appreciation Month. We thank him in his final show before he goes off to Major League Baseball Network. Our faculty advisors are Brad Daly, Alex Cartman, and Chris Taylor. I'm your host, Connor Onion, saying so long and thanks for watching Ball State Sports Links Driven.